What's up, guys? My name's Cody Brockway, and you're back with another episode of Brockway's Vinyl Bites. Woohoo! And on another installment of Essential Listening, I've pulled out quite a few Iron Maiden albums, 8 to be exact, even though I could have picked 20. I pulled out 8 Iron Maiden albums that I definitely consider to be essential listening for sure, especially if you're into the band or trying to get into the band or into this genre, etc., etc. I picked a healthy dose of the old albums and a healthy dose of the new albums, so you can get a really good gist of what this band is all about. Anyway, going back to number 1. We've got self-titled Iron Maiden 1980. Now, for the lineup here, we've got Paul Di'Anno on lead vocals, Steve Harris on bass, Dennis Stratton on guitar, Dave Murray on guitar as well, and Clive Burr on the drums. Now, this is a classic album, and they still play songs from this in concert to this day. Prowler, Remember Tomorrow, Running Free, Phantom of the Opera, Transylvania, which is actually a song that played on the video screen with a really cool video of Eddie, their mascot, riding a motorcycle around town. They played it last time I saw them in concert. Anyway, so Transylvania, Strange World, Sanctuary, Charlotte the Harlot, and Iron Maiden. Excellent album, and a cool shot of the band playing live way back in the day. Essential listening. Next up, we're going to 1981 with Killers. I love this album cover. We'll talk about the music in a second, but I love this album cover. It's Eddie, their mascot, standing there with an axe in his hand, blood dripping off the axe, and someone with his hands tearing Eddie's shirt, like pulling him down. And it's just not happening because you cannot pull down Eddie. We got the apartment buildings with the really dark skies and the street lights giving off a little bit of light, but it's definitely nighttime, and he's on the prowl because he's a prowler. You know. Anyway, so we've got Clive Burr, Dave Murray, Paul Di'Anno, Steve Harris, and we would also see the entrance of wonderful guitarist Adrian Smith replacing the original Dennis Stratton. And that is the 1981 lineup of the band. Of course, they would change numerous more times over the years, but it just keeps getting better. And of course, Martin Birch on production as well. So 1981. Oh, and great artwork on the back too. There's Eddie blowing smoke over the whole band, and a great live action shot. You get Steve Harris about to jump off the drum riser. Awesome, and he still does shit like that to this day. I've seen him twice, and he still has the energy of a 25-year-old. I got the energy of a 40-year-old. Just kidding. So exit Paul Di'Anno. Enter Bruce Dickinson, and you create one of the greatest metal albums of all time, arguably my favorite album. I'm wearing it on my shirt. Number of the Beast. Yeah. So Bruce Dickinson, Dave Murray, Adrian Smith, Steve Harris, Clive Burr on drums. The only album that they would make with this lineup, as Clive Burr would exit the band after the release of this album. But we got Invaders, Children of the Damned, The Prisoner, 22 Acacia Avenue, Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills, Gangland, Hallowed Be Thy Name. This originally was supposed to have a song called Total Eclipse, which was going to be in place of Gangland, but I guess they had to rush the release for one reason or another, and Gangland ended up being on the album instead of Total Eclipse. But when they remastered it last year, put it out on vinyl again with the Beast over Hammersmith show in the same package, they put Total Eclipse on the album the way it was supposed to be in the beginning. But I actually love Total Eclipse and Gangland, so we could have benefited from having both on the album, just saying. Essential listening, it goes without saying. A lot of these songs are staple Iron Maiden songs that they don't do a single show without touching something on this album. Next up, exit Clive Burr for alcohol, drug-related reasons. This band was notoriously a pretty clean band, and they were a very professional band, and they always play to this day. Any good band, of course, plays the best that they possibly can, and bring in Nico McBrain on the drums. As soon as you set the needle down on the record, you get yeah. Great drumming. Oh, yeah. Nico McBrain, that's how he said hello to the world with a song called Where Eagles Dare. Classic. Where Eagles Dare, Revelations, Flight of Icarus, Die With Your Boots On, The Troopers, Still Life, Quest for Fire, Sun and Steel, and To Tame a Land. Also produced and engineered by Martin Birch, just like all the other albums we've shown here. The lineup is Bruce Dickinson, Dave Murray, Adrian Smith, Steve Harris, and Nico McBrain. Classic album. A lot of people's favorite Iron Maiden album. We got Eddie chained up in a padded wall scene here. Just like a crazy patient of sorts. Yeah, he's the trooper. Peace of Mind, 1983. Next up, we have the same lineup. They had really cemented a lineup here for a number of years, but we got Power Slave, we got the Egyptian Eddie. This is 1984. Yeah, 1984 with the Egyptian Eddie, like I mentioned. Classic album, classic cover. All these covers are just brilliant. Just the artwork is like, even if the music sucked, which it does not, the artwork is just insane. Also produced and engineered by Martin Birch. It's the same lineup that I mentioned before. We got Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Lost for Words, Big Aura, Flash of the Blade, The Duelists, Back in the Village, Power Slave, and these are all my favorites, but I love the song Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. My gosh, 13 minutes of just epic stuff. It's just, I love playing the drums to it as well. Just totally great. Totally great. If you haven't heard it yet, stop this video, go listen to it. At least the song Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, but I do suggest the whole album. Then come back and watch the rest of the video. So I could have gone the way of choosing also essential listening albums, Somewhere in Time and Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. But instead, I would bypass. I would just skip from 1984 up to 2000, which we're going to pull up Brave New World in a second. But in the 90s, Adrian Smith left the band. A guitarist named Yannick Gers joined the band. Bruce Dickinson left the band, and a singer named Blaze Bailey would enter the band for 2 albums, The X Factor and Virtual 11. I'm not crazy about the Virtual 11 record. But that is a topic for another time. So, 2000 comes around, 1999, I guess they technically rejoined, but the album came out in 2000. And Adrian Smith and Bruce Dickinson both rejoined the band, so that would make the lineup Adrian Smith, Bruce Dickinson, Yannick Gers, Dave Murray, Steve Harris, and Nico McBrain, a 6-piece metal band. And they would come out with the album that I just mentioned. Brave New World. I love this Iron Maiden album. It's one that I play quite a bit. It's so heavy. It's so epic. The songs are amazing. This band was really hungry, and they were definitely just glad to be back. They are revitalized here. Really, truly, totally revitalized, and, they're happening. We basically get the classic lineup plus one guy back in the fold. Now, the classic lineup, Yannick's been with them for 35 years, and he's a great guitar player. He's got an excellent stage persona. Go see him live. You'll see what I'm talking about. And the tour for this was fucking amazing, too. The Rock in Rio album, that could have easily made this list, but I didn't put any live albums here. Otherwise, Iron Maiden would have quite a few, including that Rock in Rio record. But we got The Wicker Man, Ghost of the Navigator, Brave New World, Blood Brothers, which I've seen them play that live. The Mercenary, Dream of Mirrors, The Fallen Angel, which is a really, truly underrated deep cut. Very heavy song. The Nomad, Out of the Silent Planet, and The Thin Line Between Love and Hate. which has very Yes-like moments in it. And I'm a big Yes fan, and maybe some of you guys are too. We'll have an episode of them on. We'll do an episode of them one day. But there's certain vocal melodies in that song, the thin line between love and hate, that are very, very Yes-like. Just awesome. The band is back. Next up, we got 2006. A Matter of Life and Death. This is the first Iron Maiden record I ever heard. My dad was obsessed with this when it came out. And I'm only 25. I'm kind of young. But, hey, I love this album. We got These Colors Don't Run, Brighter Than 1,000 Suns, The Pilgrim, Out of the Shadows, Reincarnation of Benjamin Brieg, For the Greater Good of God. I've seen them play that song live, actually, and I wish they would play more from this album. I know they played it all in its entirety when it first came out back in 06, 07, around there, but we would benefit from seeing at least another song or two added from this occasionally in the more recent set lists, because it's an awesome album. And there's a cool documentary out here on YouTube. It's them in the studio recording this, and it's really interesting. Really cool. They just seem like really cool guys. I'd love to meet them. But, yeah, go check that out, too. Matter of Life and Death, 2006, Iron Maiden, definitely essential listening, modern Maiden at some of their very best. And lastly, I could have chose Book of Souls, but I chose the newest one. Why wouldn't I mention their newest album, especially when it rocks, We get Senjutsu from 2021. Can you believe that's 2 years ago already? Wow. Iron Maiden Senjutsu. That's it. It's a triple gatefold, so let's open her up here. Awesome artwork. And there's great tunes on this. The last time I saw them, they had played a number of songs from this live, and it was just awesome. When an album like this releases, and it comes on with a song like Senjutsu with the doof 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 doof, and then the guitars, oh my god, when they bring this on the road, it's gonna be fucking deadly, man. And it was epic. We saw them in Hamilton, First Ontario Centre. There's actually a concert review video, if you go back on my channel, of about just over a year ago. I saw them, and they opened with that, and it was just awesome. It was just epic. Yes, Iron Maiden Senjutsu, Writing on the Wall, Hell on Earth, Death of the Celts, Stratego, Darkest Hour, possibly my favorite song on the album. Definitely worth checking out. This is an essential band, and so anything they've got to say is essential to listen to, but definitely dig into these records I pulled out here. And if you're ever so inclined, go even further than those, because there's lots of other great shit out there too that they've done. Anyway, that wraps this episode up. I'm Cody Brockway, and this was another episode of Brockway's Vinyl Bites. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back again very soon for your viewing pleasures. Rock on! Rock on! Thanks. Don't forget to like and subscribe.